Welcome to our biology lessons مع Dr. Hanaa. Today, inshallah, we will have a final revision for paper 6, part 2. The first question is, what's meant by anomalous result? لما يسألني what's meant by anomalous result is the result that does not fit the pattern. يعني إيه result does not fit the pattern? For example, if we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 15, 1, 2. So which one of them? This is the odd in between. So which is 15 as does not fit the pattern. Like next question, how can we deal with the anomalous result? So we have 3 cases we can deal with the anomalous result. Firstly, in the graph, in tables, and in when we calculate the average. Let us start with the graph. If we have anomalous result in the graph, we have plotted, just plot all the point including the anomalous result and make a circle around it and exclude it from the line. From drawing the line, we can exclude it from it. But we have plotted and make a circle around. In the table, we can find the anomalous result in a table. If we have the data 1, 2, 3, 1, 12, 1, 2, so which one of them is odd, which is 12, that does not fit the pattern. And some question ask us to circle the anomalous results, so we just circle it. But how can we deal with anomalous result when we calculate the average? If we have first trial, second trial, third trial, and we have one of them is anomalous. For example, if we have the data 20, 13, and 21, so which one of them is the anomalous? So we can find 13 is the anomalous result. So we can exclude it from the calculation, the average, and make the average of the rest. So how can we calculate the average of the data 20, 13, 21? Firstly, we have to exclude 13 from the average, and then we will add 20 to 21 divided 2, so we can calculate the average. We have some common units used in biology. We have length. We can measure it by meter, centimeter, and millimeter. Mass, kilogram, grams, and milligrams. Time may be measured by second or minutes. Temperature, degree Celsius. Energy by joule. Volume, cubic millimeter, cubic centimeter, cubic meter. Area, millimeter square, centimeter square, or meter square. How can we calculate the surface area of a cube to a volume ratio? This looks like as a ratio, so the volume ratio is a 1. And firstly, how can we calculate the surface area of a cube? Firstly, we have a cube. This has 6 sides, the cube 6 sides. Each side of them looks like a square. So when we calculate the surface area of a cube, so we have to get the area of the square multiply 6. Now, how can we get the area of the square? Side by side. Multiply 6 so we can get the area of a cube. And if I give you 1 centimeter, each the side length of the square, okay? So the surface area of the square side by side, which is equal 1 multiply 6 equal 6 طبعا ايه centimeter square. طيب, how can we measure the surface area of a leaf? Step by step, we have to get the leaf and put it on the grid. Okay, this is the leaf. Just make it by green. To put the leaf on the grid. And then we have to outline on the leaf. Make a line around the leaf on the grid to determine the shape of the leaf on the grid. And then start to count the fully squared covered by a leaf, and then we have to remove the leaf from the grid, and just we have the outline of the leaf on the grid. It just tick on the fully squared of the leaf. So count it, count it, count it, counted, fully square. And then we can find some of the square is not a fully covered, but maybe half and above. So if it is half and above, just a counted also. So we can find this counted, counted, counted. And then this is the area of the leaf. So by counting all of these data, they give us um, the size of each grid. So maybe this area by millimeter square or centimeter square because it is an L. يبقى the first step, we have to put the leaf on the grid. Number two, we have to draw the outline on the grid around the leaf. Then removing the leaf, start to count the fully covered squares and then the half and above covered squares. And all of them A included. What about if it is less than half? Not A, not counted. So how can we exclude them? Not to be confused. So I saw this is not counted, not counted, not counted, not counted, not counted, not counted. And this is not counted. And also not counted. Next question, what's meant by precise result? What's meant by precise result? It's an accurate result. So the meaning of precise result يعني إيه؟ يعني accurate one. Which one of the following give you a precise result? If we have balance and we have a digital balance, and they measured the same mass of, so we will repeat the measurement of the mass of material and give us the first reading in a balance 5 grams, and by using digital balance give us 5.1 grams. So which one of them is more accurate? So we can find the digital balance give us the precise or the accurate result. Next question, which position of the following give you a precise reading? So if we have to see the meniscus of a solution horizontally and the bottom of the meniscus, lower part of the meniscus. So we can read, this is give us the precise result. This position is wrong, this position is wrong, and the above level is wrong. So the lower of the meniscus. How can we get the precise value of the optimum temperature for the activity of an enzyme? So if we have this graph, okay, and after plotting the points, we know that the optimum temperature for the activity of enzyme is 30 degrees Celsius. From the graph, that's right. Are you sure? I don't know because we just took the intervals 10, 20, 30, 40. How can we get a precise value of the optimum temperature for the activity of an enzyme? We can repeat the investigation with a smaller intervals around 30. Maybe the optimum here. Maybe the optimum temperature here. So it is not be 30, maybe 28, maybe 32, maybe 35. So how can we get a precise value? So we have to repeat the investigation with a smaller intervals around 30. We have another question. Why we have to repeat the experiment at least 3 times? Okay, sometimes we have to just make the experiment only once. So why it is important to repeat the experiment at least 3 times? Firstly, to identify or spot the anomalous result, to take an average and to get reliable result. We have some errors, and how can we deal with it? Some investigation, they said that they put hot water or cold water. This is a big source of error, and they have to state the value of temperature and maintain it using thermostatically controlled water bath. يعني أول ما ألاقي كده في الانفستيجيشن يقول لك إيه we have to add hot water or cold water, he didn't state the value of of temperature. So it's a source of error. So when we read the investigation, we have to underline and write on it, this is a kind of error. And how can we deal with it? So we have to mention the value of temperature and using thermostatically controlled water bath to keep this temperature. We have another kind of error, which is using the drops as a kind of measurement. For example, some investigation would just put drops of iodine solution on the starch suspension. Is it a kind of measurement? No, it's a kind of error. Why? Because these drops have different sizes. So they have different volumes. So you have to use a syringe or graduated pipette or pipette. Sometimes in the question they said they put approximately 200 cubic centimeter of water. Is that exactly? No, nothing called approximately. So you have to say the exact value of any measurement. Don't say approximately. We have another experiment by making a dough, and he said they used their hand to divide the dough. Or divide the dough by hand. Is it a precise way? Is it an accurate way? No. So using the word, using your hand to divide the quantity, so it is not an accurate way because this is not accurate. You have to use a digital balance to measure the mass. So we never divide the dough by hands. Other investigation, they said, half filled with water. This tested tube, half filled with water. So this is not an accurate measurement. You have to use a graduated cylinder to measure its volume. Some investigation, they use the same tool to measure the volume of different substances. Is it an accurate way? No, it is not, because this leading to contamination, okay, and may change the concentration of chemicals. How come we can measure the volume of amylase enzyme, and after that the volume of starch suspension, and in another experiment measure the volume of hydrochloric acid? So this is contamination and also may change the concentration of chemicals. We have only way we can accept this point, which is if we just measure at the beginning a certain volume of distilled water and then measure a volume of any chemical else, because the distilled water does not cause contamination and does not affect the concentration of the chemical. We can let it to dry and then we can use it again. But how can we overcome this problem? Also, we can wash it in between the usage between chemical and another. We have a question, we have to deal it. How can we deal with a question if the question said, calculate the percentage increase, calculate the percentage decrease, calculate the percentage change? We have three different stages, which are, if we want to calculate the percentage increase, or decrease or change, we can use the rule, which is final minus the initial divided initial multiply 100 in all of them. Final minus the initial divided the initial multiply 100, and also in the percentage change, final minus the initial divided initial multiply 100. So in all cases, we will use the same rule. But what about the result? In the result of percentage increase, we can find the value in a positive way. So how can we write the answer? We can write the answer without the positive sign, okay? But what about if the question asks to calculate the percentage decrease? So we can find the value in negative here. Now, how can we write the result? We will write the result without the negative sign. Why? Because they said in the question decrease. So this compensate this sign by this word. So they know that the percentage decrease. So there is no necessity to write the negative sign. What about the third way? When we ask about the percentage change, final minus initial divided initial multiply 100. So in front of us, two ways, maybe positive and maybe negative. If it is positive, we can write it without the positive sign. What about if it is negative? This is very important tip. If it is negative in this case, so you have to write the negative sign. Why? Because when the question said that calculate the percentage change, so this in front of us two options, maybe increase and maybe decrease. How do you know from the calculation this is decreases in the value? So this negative sign indicates the change in percentage by decrease. I hope إن احنا نكون اتعلمنا حاجة جديدة النهاردة، وإن شاء الله أشوفكم في part 3.